Okay, I thought I was gonna film, but actually I have to take an Instagram real quick. Be right back. And we're back. Just had a mini photo shoot. Follow me on Instagram to see those pics. Messy bun, getting stuff done. That's me. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing one of my favorite videos to film. I film this video every single January. If you're a long-term subscriber, you definitely know that I love to read, and every single year I like to share with you the books that I had read the previous year and how many I read. So last year I uploaded my 25 books I read in 2017, and today I'm going to be uploading the 30 books that I read in 2018. Before we get started, comment down below the book that you are currently reading, because I don't know what book I'm going to read next. I definitely would love some book recommendations. Also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. We really are like one big family with lots of love to go around. It's never too late to join. All you have to do is hit subscribe. I'm trying this new thing where I don't wear makeup when I film, because ever since I started getting eyelash extensions, I never wear makeup as it is, but when I film, for some reason I feel like I have to. No, not anymore. There's just no need. I'm just gonna let my skin embrace it, because this is me.
This is real. This is me. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be now.
Just had to let you know, there's that update if anybody actually cares. Usually when I film these videos, I like to do it very quickly in kind of a list-oriented way where I basically just tell you the title of the book. But this year I do want to spend a little bit of time telling you guys about my favorite reads, as well as which books I had to read for my classes at the University of Minnesota and which books I read for pleasure. So I am an English major with a creative writing minor, so there were definitely a ton of books this year that I was obligated to read, especially because I took a children's literature course and a British literature course. So both of those classes required a ton of reading, and I definitely loved what I read, but I was also obligated to read them. So I have the list in one of my mini notebooks that I keep, and we're just gonna dive right on into it. I write them down in chronological order, but I think I'm just going to start with the... Luna, are you kidding me? I swear, as soon as I start to film, Luna's like, what is the loudest thing in this room that I can play with? But without further ado, let's get right on into all the books that I read in 2018. Starting with The Burn Journals. Definitely a favorite of mine. If you like memoirs, you would love this book. It's basically about a teenage boy that set himself on fire when he went through a very hard time, and it talks about his recovery. It captures the mind of not only a teenager, but a teenage boy so well, and he writes so presently, even though he is probably in his 30s when he was writing most of this. But it's really good. It is a fast read, but it's fast because I couldn't put it down. Loved it. Definitely recommend if you like memoirs. Anything that has to do with like overcoming a hard time, becoming stronger out of it. Like, I love hearing people's own experiences with that. Also, it was really enlightening and intriguing to hear about someone that set themselves on fire. He had third-degree burns all over his body. Like, that is crazy, and he spent so much of that year in and out of hospitals, which I can relate to slightly because I did spend a lot of time in an adolescent hospital. I found a way to relate to that writing. Definitely a great book to start off the year with. The following books I had to read for children's literature. I read about 1 to 2 books a week because they were children's books, so it was really fast to read them. But for that class, we read Peter Pan, Anne of Green Gables, The Little Prince, Charlotte's Web, Bridge Terabithia, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, The City of Beasts, Coraline, and The Monster Calls. Whew, 9 books. Even though I was 22 reading these books, I definitely enjoyed it. Coraline was like my favorite book ever. I love the movie Coraline, so it was really great to be able to read the book. And fun fact, I've never read the Harry Potter books until now. I really liked it. I was definitely a Twilight girl growing up. Peter Pan was beautiful. I think Peter Pan is one of those children's books that you can read at any age and appreciate the writing that, what is his name? Peter Pan's written by that dude. Peter Pan is actually a playwright, so we read it in the style of a play or a script, and that was really cool because I could definitely see like how Disney adapted it and what pieces of dialogue Disney captured and what they changed. Something that not many people know about Peter Pan is that the author of Peter Pan, what the frick is his name? I need to look it up because it's gonna bother me. Hey Siri, who wrote Peter Pan?
J.M. Barrie created.
Ah, Barrie. J.M. Barrie. Okay, a lot of people don't know that J.M. Barrie actually lost a sibling growing up, his younger brother. You can really see that captured in Peter Pan and the moral of the play and like his writing, because he found a way to kind of like keep his brother alive in Neverland. You know, no one ever grows up, no one ever dies. It's just very much like make-believe. So a lot of pieces of his writing you can definitely correlate to like the grieving process, and as a sibling trying to get over the loss of a sibling. I think he really did a great job at healing and capturing that in his play Peter Pan. For my British literature course, I read Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf and Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I was not the biggest fan of Jane Austen's writing. It was definitely educational and worth my time reading, but it was really hard to stay focused reading Pride and Prejudice. But I feel like it is a classic and everyone needs to read that book at some point in their lives because it is really beautifully written. But Mrs. Dalloway. Virginia Woolf is one of my all-time favorite writers and modernist writers. I love her work. I first read her work in high school when we read To the Lighthouse. House. It changed everything to like read her mind. I felt so saved reading her work. If you're unfamiliar with not only the way Virginia Woolf writes, but the book itself, Virginia Woolf writes sentences that are as long as paragraphs, and she really like takes you into her subconsciousness and her mind, and it ties into like the era of modernism, because Picasso and all these other modernist artists and painters were doing the same thing on a canvas. She was doing it on a page, and that's what made it so beautiful. And Mrs. Dalloway is only a 24-hour long plot. It's just like a day in a woman's life, and then it's like everyone in the town's lives. It's crazy, and it really like takes you into your mind and out of it at the same time. Definitely recommend if you like modernist writing. Oh, so good. I could go on for days about Virginia Woolf. So that was spring semester reading. Moving on to what I read in the summer before getting into what I had to read for my college semester of class, starting off with My Father Dancing, which was a memoir. Farewell to Freedom. I read this on the plane to Myrtle Beach. It's like a crime book. Not really my style, but I owned it and just wanted to read it. So I think it was a fast read. If you like mysteries and kind of like whodunit and all that, you probably appreciate this. It kind of felt like I was watching a CSI episode. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I was definitely inspired to read more children's literature after I finished taking that class, and this one was very, very sweet. It's a classic. I also, let me grab it because I love it so much. It's a gem. I also really love my copy of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I got it at the thrift store, and so this was part of the Kalamazoo Public Library, which I just find so endearing. But this copy was published in, only 1964. Was this first edition? It was a revised edition, but it's still like a really old book, and it has these beautiful illustrations included. I believe they're like the original illustrations. The smell of it, I just had to share with you like the copy. I love books and I really value them, and this copy of Charlie and Chocolate Factory is just amazing. I love it. We have to move the tripod because the sun is setting faster than I anticipated. Beep, 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 beep. Okay. But yeah, very sweet. If you're looking for something to read lightly for like a day or two, definitely read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, because it's just such a precious story and it makes you feel so like grateful for life. It really reminded me of the beauty of like innocence and childhood, and it made me feel happy. So thanks, Ronald Dahl. Next, I read Half Broke Horses. It's by Jeanette Walls. She wrote The Glass Castle and Silver Star. I love her writing. Her work is always beautiful, and I can never get over the fact that it's all like nonfiction. Like, it's her life, and it's definitely the style of writing that I inspire to write and aspire to publish someday. So the fact that she has been able to capture that so elegantly and beautiful and tell her story really inspires me. I was reading this book on the beach at Myrtle Beach. Every 2 seconds I like looked up from my book and I had to quote something to my boyfriend at the time and be like, oh my god, anything Jeanette Walls writes I have a hard time putting down. If you haven't read her work yet, you have to. My yellow phase. So much I want to tell you. Letters to My Younger Sister by Anna Akanna. I love Anna Akanna. I actually met her at VidCon. I've been following her channel for years. If you're unfamiliar with her, look her up, watch some of her videos. She's inspiring, she's strong, she's intelligent, wonderful woman, and her sister killed herself when they were growing up. She took all this sadness and depression and became like a comedic genius, but she also wrote a book, like I said, Letters to My Younger Sister, about everything she wishes she could tell her sister, advice, things that happened to her growing up, and again, memoir style, but a little bit more trendy, if that makes sense, you know, so shorter chapters, but really intense stuff and so much grit onto the page. Definitely recommend. It's also yellow and makes me so happy. As a YouTuber, like, I can see everything that she struggled with and how she overcame it and created a YouTube channel, and like how her life just transformed after that. So that was really inspiring. I mean, obviously I didn't lose a sister to suicide, but I do have a lot of family stuff that, I don't know, we all have our own stories, so you never know when you might hear mine. On the trend of YouTube books, I read Adultolescence while waiting to board my flight in South Carolina. This one's by Gabbie Hanna, really fast read. She wrote short poems, cute stuff. Next, I read Notes from No Man's Land. I actually read a few essays by Eula Biss for class a few years ago, and I still had the copy of the book where we had to read those selective essays from, and I went ahead and just read the entire thing. I do like reading essays because I also like to write personal essays like that, so it's kind of like homework for the writer's soul, if that makes sense. But if you like Eula Biss or just like reading essays, I'd recommend it. It's not for everyone, I know, but it's still really good. Poems of New York. I got this at MoMA when I went to New York City for the first time in high school. Cute little coffee table book, but cute poems all about New York City. Duh. The Pearl by John Steinbeck. This is a classic. I think everyone needs to read it at some point in their lives, and I read this in one night. I didn't like how it ended. This book made me so angry, but it was really good. Flush by Virginia Woolf, another favorite. This one is the biography of a dog. Like, this girl is beyond her time. It was so good though. He's a little like spaniel. Oh, so cute. And I love the copy of Flush that I own. I got it from an antique shop in Stillwater in Minnesota. I don't want to go grab it because it's just a lot of getting up and I'm lazy, but it definitely looks like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, except it's like red and has like not fabric, but like a softer cover, and you know, yellow pages. It's a really loved book, that's what I'm trying to say. Again, love it. It's about a dog. If you like modernist writing, Virginia Woolf, or dogs, I would recommend reading Flush. It's a really easy read. Some people are intimidated to read really like well-known classic authors like Virginia Woolf because they assume that the writing will be difficult to understand, but it's not. She's amazing. Read her work. Lone Wolf by Jodi Picoult, my first favorite fiction writer as a young adult. I read every single one of her novels and I try to save them for the summertime. I don't know, it's when I started reading her work and I feel like I just have to have a Jodi Picoult novel in my hand over the summer. So Lone Wolf was really good. She's my favorite contemporary fiction writer. Aimless Love by Billy Collins, a poet that I love reading. He has really great poems if you like poetry, and this is one of my favorite collections by his. I would recommend starting out though with Horoscopes for the Dead by Billy Collins because it's a shorter anthology and it has a lot of his like great work in it. Just Kids by Patti Smith. So sad, so sweet, so good. Well, we've entered fall semester on my list of books that I read this last year. So in my contemporary nonfiction class, we read Slouching Towards Bethlehem, Pilgrim at Tinker Creek, About a Mountain. Oh, never mind. I read so many more books. Oh, frick, I've read more than 30 books. And Citizen. So technically, I guess I read 31 books this year. Oops, I miscounted. None of these books were my favorite. I just read them for class. The last two books that I read for fun this year were The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. This was really, really good. It takes place right after the Second World War, so there is a lot of, I don't want to say PTSD, but it's kind of like how the world is coping with the war, and there's a lot of drinking and partying. Everyone is kind of like on edge, but also trying to have fun. When I read books that I know you're supposed to read in like English classes, I look up SparkNotes and stuff that, you know, teachers might want to tell their class about, so I know what to look out for as an active reader, and that's kind of what I read about, like the historical context of the book, trying to see how that affects the characters. So that's what I focused on with The Sun Also Rises, but it was really beautiful and I definitely recommend it if you're into that type of reading. And the last book I am still currently reading, it's December 28th, so I'm sure I'll finish it by the end of this year, but it's called Don't Unplug, and it's a memoir about this boy, well, he's a man now, but in the memoir it starts out when he's a child and how technology like saved his life and how it can save yours too. It reminds me a lot of the stuff that I had to read for my media class this last semester because it's all about technology and coding and like what the internet can do and how it's just one big web of like encyclopedia. It's really cool, and I think as someone that uses the internet a lot, it's definitely changed my life and has probably saved it in some ways. It's really cool to see how it can change other people's lives and how it affected him, and so on and so on. So those were the 31 books that I read this last year in 2018. Comment down below what your favorite book that you read this year was, or if you've read any of the books that I read and what you think I should read next year. I'd love to hear it. This is definitely like my time as a bookworm to shine because I do love reading and I value books so much, and I just wanted to share that with you. If you missed my last video, definitely go watch it. Like I've said, I worked an entire year on that. It's just something that I am so incredibly proud of, and I really want other people to like see it, and I just really want to show it off. So if you missed that, I filmed a second every single day of 2018 and put it into one big video. I've been doing this since 2014, I believe, so crazy stuff happening over here. But that's it for today's video. Definitely give this a thumbs up and subscribe. We really are like one big family with lots of love to go around. It's never too late to join. All you have to do is hit subscribe. With all that being said, I hope you have a wonderful day. Take some time off of your phone or computer, like shut the laptop screen and read for like 30 minutes. I try to do that every single day, give my eyes a break from technology. Let me know if you need any other book recommendations because I have a ton, and I also have 2 other videos of the books that I read in 2015, 2016, and 2017. Oh, I think I have 3 up. Anyways, I'll link them all down below if you want to see what I was reading previous years, but I think that's all I have to say. I have to get ready for work now, but thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys very, very soon with my next one. Bye!